Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Welcome back to Do You Watch What I Watch? And we are going to break down episodes 6 and 7 of Hope Valley 1874 and discuss whether or not it gets gold or coal in our gold or coal rush. Josh, can you read us the synopsis of these two eps?
For sure. So in episode 6, this one's called Common Ground, Rebecca avoids grieving her late husband on his birthday by throwing herself into her work on the boarding house. Alexander, meantime, mediates rising tensions between Tom and Doyle. And in episode 7, this one's called Desperado. A young fugitive holds Rebecca and Tom hostage. Olivia teaches Alexander to fish. Hattie supports Rachel through the early stages of motherhood.
Okay, if you've been around for our other episodes, we don't get into a full in-depth recap on these. We just kind of go little high, what do you call it? Like the bird's eye view of the main characters and kind of give our thoughts and reactions. So for episode 6, we got Rebecca, Bethany Joy Lentz, who, by the way, I listened to her audiobook, and we should talk about that at some point, but that's for another day. Fascinating. Fascinating. She was in a cult. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rebecca is stressed about curtains on the boarding house. She's distracting herself from Pa's upcoming birthday, her late husband, and the furniture gets delivered. Everyone's chipping in to help unload it, get it all set up. This stuff is full-time fancy for somebody who didn't have money, like, and 2 sticks to rub together a couple episodes ago. Either we're taking out big credit card loans in the Hope Valley or something. It was wild. But Rebecca then gets lightheaded and Hattie is worried. But then Rebecca collapses in Tom's arms.
Falls out. Brief moment of peril, as we like to say here on the podcast. Yeah, but I think it was like time, right? We needed some sort of forced physical connection between the two of them to kind of move this along a little bit.
Yeah. For sure. So Rebecca gets her strength back and Hattie takes her to a fishing spot. She talks about how Pa died of pleurisy? I don't remember how they pronounced it, but
Sure.
they her and her daughter plant an apple seed for a tree outside of their window. And the sketch of Rebecca and Sarah that Olivia did a few episodes ago has been published in the papers to lure people out to the Wild West. And it's seen by a rich woman eating her breakfast at the table, and it's presumably Sarah's grandmother, and that's how the episode ends for that beat. What did you think about that?
I thought it was a good way to sort of introduce what they were going to do, because they've been setting this up about her in-laws being, back home and wanting Sarah back in their life. So I like how they did that, but it was very clear that her mother-in-law is very hoity-toity. Very fancy pants.
Yes. All right. My note for Clayton, I said Clayton delivered a gorgeous table. That was it. Not much movement.
What more do you need?
Yeah. Mountie Alexander shows back up to move in, even though his room isn't ready at the boarding house. And he's going to give Rebecca $2 extra a week to have the boarding house be used for official Mountie business for a merely 2 hours a week. She reluctantly says she'll probably do it, but she's got to think about it. And then he holds a hearing for Tom versus Doyle's land. So basically, everybody's just been claiming land. However, Alexander Mountie's like, okay, you got to, apply. You got to, have paperwork and get easements and all this formality stuff. And Doyle and Tom have applied for the same permit on Tom's land. And Tom is fit to be tied about it because he's been there for years, building his ranch. And there's a fight, like all the townsfolk are around Clayton's beautiful table at Rebecca's, and they're basically going to break out in fisticuffs. But then Mountie Alexander decides, hey, Tom gets to keep the land as long as Doyle can cross with an easement. So it's kind of, an olive branch, if you will. Because before then, Doyle, was sending too much stream water on Tom's alfalfa farm that Rebecca had just plowed. Okay, we need to save the alfalfa.
Please.
All right, Lars's wife, who are Ned's parents. Lars's wife has been alone a lot because Lars has been away panning and he's, not very good at it. So she's making sourdough now. Lars finds a giant piece of gold finally, except it's only worth $10 and he thought it would be worth more. He was like, you know what? This life isn't for me. He sells all of his equipment and they're like, we're going to move to the city. We're done. Rebecca stops them on the way out and says, hey, what if you run the mess tent for me? You can live at the boarding house for free. Thank God, because Rebecca was taking on too much. She needed to start delegating. Okay.
Please, yeah. Bring on a couple of employees. Yeah. I have felt stress for Rebecca for the past couple of weeks because she is doing way too much. And you're absolutely right. The progress on the boarding house, it's like Extreme Makeover Boarding House Edition, the way that this has all come together for her, seemingly with no resources whatsoever. Just 2 weeks ago, we had holes in the ceiling, and now all of a sudden we've got paint and drapery and furniture. It's just a lot. It's been a little yada yada, as I like to say.
I'm assuming some time has passed. They didn't say it. They didn't say like 2 months later or something, but that's the only way I can make it make sense in my brain because that's a lot of pies
Yeah.
and sardines served at the mess tents to churn out enough money for all this furniture. I mean,
Right.
she had a coat rack being brought in, a wooden carved coat rack. Girl, for opening day, you don't need that. These people are sleeping down by the river.
No.
Get the basics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gathering
very
moss
much
for
an
pillows.
It looked
Yeah.
like Christmas morning and an American Girl doll and all the furniture were getting unloaded. Okay. It was basically that. It's crazy.
Exactly.
That's all I have for episode 6. Did you have anything else?
I didn't. No, I thought you did a great job of summing it up. This one felt like it was more about kind of the characters developing and more of that kind of an exposition. Although I will say I really liked that scene where Alexander was kind of holding court because this really represented for him the first time he had to kind of step into this kind of a dispute because he's new on the job and new kind of in the understanding the lay of the land. And I liked that scene for him. But I thought Rebecca was the best part of that scene when she was like, stop beating on my new furniture.
It reminded me, when we moved in, we were newlyweds. I got a table from Walmart and we had friends over to play spoons and it had a leaf in the middle. The table did. I got it all enlarged. We were playing spoons, around the table. And one of my friends belly flopped on top of the table and the table buckled the first week we had it. And it hasn't been right since then. I need a new table, but I have kids. I'm like, I'm
And
not
that
spending money on new furniture.
That friend's never been invited back. No more spoons.
First and
It's a
last.
violent
Yeah.
sport.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. I haven't played spoons since either. Okay, yeah, I thought this was a great episode for Mountie Alexander. I like seeing more of his Mountie duties other than just flirting with Olivia, So, happy to see
Please,
that.
yes, with you.
All right, episode 7. I wrote, oh no, baby Ned has a fever. He's totally wilding out. And Ned's mom is struggling, being basically a single mom while Lars is working the mess tent and panning for gold and whatnot. She's going through it. I can't imagine postpartum life back then anyways, much less postpartum life, and I'm down by the river with gold miners around. It just wouldn't be ideal,
Yeah. Yeah, no pacifiers, no nothing, none of the modern conveniences we have. I mean, God bless. That was a tough life,
Yeah. Rebecca, so they're throwing a party. They're going to celebrate the boarding house being open. And Peggy, the woman who couldn't read, and the kids go to town to buy supplies for the party. Rebecca goes into Tom's barn I don't know what she was doing in there. She was going to get something. And a guy comes out of nowhere and pulls a weapon on her. He takes her hostage for food and supplies. And he has an infected bullet wound in his shoulder. And he is looking pale and rough. And like he's breathing all heavy. And then I start breathing heavy just watching this unfold. I mean, it's Hallmark, so it's not going to get like too crazy. But I've also seen season 1 of When Calls the Heart, and sometimes stuff gets crazy a little bit. Tom comes back from his errands, and he sees Rebecca's empty horse and carriage, and he's like, "Why? Where is she?" He goes looking for her. He then gets roped up in this mess. Literally, the guy ties them up in Tom's living room while he snoozes on the chair nearby. He had to catch some Z's to fight off the infection. Pardon me. So Rebecca and Tom concoct a plan that if Rebecca can remove the bullet, then she can run, and Tom would stay and, I don't know, fight off this guy who's looking very weak and pale. I mean, he's like a tall dude, but I think Tom could take him, you know? And this guy's it's a kid, basically. I don't know why I say a guy. He's basically a kid. His name's Eli. Turns out he got scammed from a horse rancher. And so to retaliate, he stole the horse. And now the rancher and his cronies are after Eli. He then proceeds to spill all his guts to him. And I personally would have let the kid leave, knowing everybody will be back at Tom's soon. So, like, whatever. I think they could have been untied later, but okay. So the posse's looking for him, and they have a dog hot on Eli's scent in the woods. Rebecca gets the bullet out of Eli, but he still wants their horse. And they tell him that Tom can take him to Mount Yvonne to protect him and sort things out, and he doesn't like that plan. He then pulls the gun on Tom again, and Tom grabs the gun from him, and there's no bullets in it. Eli, really? Then, if you thought it couldn't get crazier, it does. The posse shows up at Tom's looking for Eli, and their accents are awful. The worst thing I've heard thus
Awful.
far on Hope Valley 1874.
Yep. Not
Embarrassingly
good.
bad, guys. No, okay? But Tom goes to talk to the posse, and maybe we can do a reenactment of I'll be Tom saying, "Get off my land," and you say, "No, I want my horse and Eli," okay? Get off my land.
Okay. No, I want my horse and I want Eli.
Get off
Yeah,
my land.
not
That's
good.
all it is. They just keep going back and forth.
It was a big old
It was
standoff. And of course, Tom's holding his big old shotgun on the porch, and it's just, again, funny. And I mentioned this earlier in this season. It's just like, I'm still having somewhat of a tough time suspending my previous understanding of Benjamin Ayers to get into him in this role with the shotgun on the front porch of this house.
leave him. The cronies I was not down with. But anyways, Rebecca's like, I'm gonna take matters into my own hands because Rebecca has to do everything in this town. She brings out Eli and she's gonna take him to Mount Yvonne. And so she tells them, "You all are coming with me." And they listen to her for I don't know why. So Rebecca is driving a carriage with Tom and Eli in the back, and the posse is in tow. Like it's like a vagrant parade going through town. And Tom is all like, "Men, shoo!" And they do. So Vaughn is going to lock Eli up in another town to keep him safe until there's a hearing about this whole horse thievery of it all. Talk about yada yada. We yada yada the heck out of the yada yada on this one.
Yeah. But I do like the term vagrant parade because that's exactly what it looked like.
They were all just like trotting around, a bunch of vagrants, Rebecca leading the way.
In a straight line.
She
Yeah.
probably had a pie in her
Which-
pocket for him. Here's a pie I found. You have a pie.
Sure. Here's some sourdough bread. Yeah. I'm
And
sure.
here's a brochure of my
Something.
boarding house if you need a safe place to stay with nice hand-carved wooden coat racks. Nash, the guy whose leg was very infected a couple episodes ago, Rebecca takes his cast off. She saws it off with a big hole thing. I mean, it's just like, it's gnarly looking. But I guess he's okay.
Not
It's
sterile.
mending.
Not sterile.
And no, definitely tetanus floating around in the air, but he's hobbling around and he's grunting more than I'm comfortable with, but I think he's going to be okay, I guess. Tom's glad to have Nash back because it's calving season, if you didn't know. He sees that Olivia has applied for the School of Art, and thank God she's moved the safe to the back of the store because Hattie's new safe was right smack dab in the middle of the store a few episodes ago. We were very stressed out. Set Deck has decided to move it to the back corner where a safe should be located in a store at this time. Olivia is torn as to whether to stay in Hope Valley, which doesn't have a name at this time, but we're going to call it Hope Valley, or go to art school and pursue her dreams. Mountie Alexander and Olivia are going fishing and flirting, is what I called it. She's teaching him how to fish, except he already knows how. He just wanted time with her.
Okay.
Okay.
Now listen here.
And
Now I've realized that we've talked about these two guys that are sort of making their play for Olivia, but Olivia is playing both sides of this fence. Really? I mean, she's she's given it 100% flirting on both sides of the coin here. So
She's trifling a little bit. She's a little trifling.
what are you doing?
I mean,
She's a little bit trifling. Okay. Glad it wasn't just me who thought that. Yeah.
no.
Mm-hmm.
It's time, Olivia. Pick a lane and stick with it, okay? Because it's not fair to these guys.
Please. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would still be Team Clayton, but if Mountie Alexander's the way, then you just gotta pick. You're not on The Bachelorette, Olivia. Oh, Valley Bachelorette.
Ah.
Can I steal you for a second?
Right. Can I steal you for a second?
Oh gosh.
Oh, that's good.
Can you imagine?
That's good.
So the last thing, there's a new guy in town, Mr. Maxwell, who has never mined for gold a day in his life. What is his deal? He's like bumbling around, and the last shot of the episode is him lurking around with a lantern at night looking for something that is not gold, and I want answers. What do you think is his deal?
I'm thoroughly confused with this character. It seems like a really weird way to introduce him, number one. And number two, it's like we saw the mother-in-law in the previous episode and got none of that in this particular episode. We have so many things that we need to wrap up and or address in the 8th and final episode of this season. It's going to be a whirlwind of an episode, I think.
Or they will not address it, and we better get a season 2 then.
Better get a season 2, because if we've invested this much time, I need some of these plot points to wrap up. Yes.
All right, so that brings us to the real question. Was this gold or coal for you, Josh? Were these episodes gold or coal?
Well, between the two, I think I liked episode 7 better. Episode 6 didn't have a whole lot of action. I thought episode 7, this whole plot line with the hostage experience was great, because I think it wasn't just a little bit of action. I think it actually put Tom and Rebecca together in a way where they learned something new about each other. Obviously, they want that relationship to develop, and this was a good way, I think, to do it. I also, in episode 7, really liked the way Hattie was helping. What's the new mom's name? What's her name? I'm forgetting.
Ned's mom.
Ned's mom, yes, was helping Ned's mom through her obvious postpartum depression, while at the same time coming to her own realization about her daughter Olivia, maybe having aspirations beyond their current situation. So I thought it was just across the board some really, really thoughtful and good stuff in episode 7, especially. What about you?
I agree. I mean, I liked episode 6, like what you said, the Mountie Alexander town hall meeting around the table was definitely the best part of that episode. The rest of it was pretty sleepy and just kind of moving forward, but it was a filler ep, which is fine when you have like 20, 22 episodes in a season. When you have 8, I don't need filler episodes. I need all pedals.
Especially if you're going to introduce
okay?
new characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to introduce new characters this late in the game. Like, what
And
are we doing
especially,
here?
I mean,
Yeah.
we get a lot
I'm
of comments
curious.
from people who are not watching this because they are refusing to pay for one more subscription in life. And guys, I get it. And
Yes.
so there are a lot of dedicated Hearties and Hallmark fans who are like, no, I'm not downloading Hallmark Plus and paying for it. So they're not watching this. So I need them to have a season 2. So maybe they're going to have to put it on Hallmark proper at some point later this summer, in the fall even, to drum up some more fandom, because I do think it's really good. I like this a lot. And I will
It's
be
really
sad
good.
if it's
And you got to think that they're not going to spend the money and bring on, Bethany Joy Lenz and Benjamin Ayers just for an 8-part Hallmark Plus only series. Like, they absolutely will air this over on Hallmark Channel. But I bet you're right. It'll probably be, if I had to guess, like late summer,
yeah.
just as new content heading into Countdown to Christmas. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's what I would guess too. But we don't know, guys. We don't get any intel on that. So that's just pure
No.
speculation with Jennifer and Josh. That can be another segment we do.
Pure speculation.
We don't know anything.
A boop boop.
A boop boop. Okay, well, Josh, before we go, I have finished season 1 of When Calls the Heart. And I stopped texting you my incessant thoughts. I instead have made an Excel spreadsheet. If you can direct your attention, I sent it to you. If you want to just read them live on air, because I want to hear your reactions to the pure insanity that has been the remainder The first half I've already talked about on the pod. This is the second half of
Mm-hmm.
When Calls the Heart,
Mm-hmm.
season 1.
Okay, so episode 8, the one surviving miner from the explosion comes back to the valley after being released from the hospital, and he has a peg leg, and they all look terrified. No one told Elizabeth she has to plan a Founders Day play. Whoa. The miner with the limb difference has PTSD and is terrified by the mine whistles. Obvi. His wife orders a prosthetic leg partially funded by Abigail, taking up a love offering. He's peeved now. He's a cripple and a charity case. They argue and he leaves.
That was
Mountie
his
Jack
words, by the
painted a
way.
backdrop
Yeah.
for the play and trim at Abigail's cafe and hid a small painted Mountie and Elizabeth smooching. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was a big backdrop for
The
this whole
mayor
play,
and Gowan
he
look like.
painted them. He painted them smooching.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a flex. That is a
Yeah.
flex right there. Episode 9, Jack gets reassigned and has a steamy dance date with Rebecca. Jack asks Abigail for help nailing Gowan for the mine explosion. He thinks corners were cut. Rebecca's annoying sister shows up to visit. She trots off into a bunch of bare-filled trees. Jack's new replacement Mountie stays back. She ends up breaking into a cabin and gets a gun pulled on her by a bloody-handed man. Outlaws chased him. She's going to bring him Band-Aids and medicine the next day. They're hot for one another, and he's hurt because he's in his brother's bank robbing gang. He ends up getting sepsis.
Then he was a member of the gang. And then now he's the bad guy. He's the face of the wanted poster.
He ends up getting sepsis, and the doctor's fixing him up at Abigail's. Ned opens a wanted poster with his face as the leading man. Gowan asks Abigail on a date? Business meeting? She be snooping in his office when he's away. Jack tells Rebecca he's leaving in the middle of their hot date, and she is crying and sad. Jack decides to put in an official appeal to stay. She tells him she can't ask him to stay. He needs to pursue his dreams, blah, blah, blah. Episode 10, Rebecca's sister is harboring a fugitive.
It's wild.
Abigail steals the protocol folder from Gowan and gets busted. He tells her it's her husband's fault the men died and burns all his records. What? The bank robbers take Rebecca and her sister captive, another hostage situation here, to find the lead bank robber. And in episode 11, Rosemary Lavoie shows up and is Jack's crazy ex-fiance, but she acts like they're still together. A guy, Bill Avery, arrived to build a case against the mine and to win Abigail's heart. Elizabeth's daddy got her a job back home so she won't get kidnapped as much. Will she take it? 2 goons attack Bill Avery and steal his evidence. Rosemary finds a portrait Jack sketched of Elizabeth and draws a mustache on it. Shady. And Jack and Rebecca finally kiss. This thing sounds like Days of Our Lives is what it boils down to. Minus the Marlena dealing with devil possession. Days of Coal Valley. Like
Days
sands through the hourglass.
Yeah. It was overall, wow. I'm glad to have watched it. Season 1's wild. And then I've heard season 2 wasn't as good. I was like, well, let me just keep going, right? I'm trying to watch it. I can already tell you I'm 1.5 episodes in, and season 2 it's like a different show. There's a drop off. And it's not good, but I do fear that I'm somewhat invested at this point.
Jeez, here we go.
I think
I've got to thank you. I mean, that was some. She's got the fever. That was some A+ recap work on that. So I want to thank you, Jennifer, for putting in the extra effort, and I'm sure our Hardy fans love it as well. So there you have it.
Yeah, some people said it's been a while since they've watched season 1 and they forgot some of the details. So I'm happy to just kind of remind you of a few little things since it's 13 seasons in.
I love it. Boy, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, dear friends, that is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch? Thanks for being here as we recap Hope Valley 1874 and talk about other stuff that makes us laugh. We hope that you've had a few chuckles along the way. Hey, if you like this episode, be sure to hit that like button on YouTube. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit subscribe here on YouTube and on your favorite podcast platform. That way you'll get your first notification whenever a new episode from us drops.
That's right. Special thanks as always to Nick Schwartz for our theme song. Thank you for listening. Hey, later this month in May, we're going to talk about a Christmas movie from Hallmark, A Years Gone By, in the Godwink series. We're going to talk about the finale of Hope Valley 1874. And we're also going to talk about our Mount Rushmore top 4 female and male leads of Hallmark actors. And we've asked you, you all have been filling out our survey. We've gotten your responses. And Josh and I are going to duke it out to see if we can build our Mount Rushmores. And it should be a volatile yet fun episode when that drops. So definitely make sure you're subscribed because you don't want to miss it.
Absolutely. One thing is for sure, as you've come to expect from us, we're going to have much to discuss. But until we see you next time,
May your days be merry and bright. Bye, y'all.